Alright, so picking up right where we left off. In this case right here, what's kind of nice is I'm forcing you guys to make your own two-column tables, whatever you want to call it. You have our statements. Remember, your statements are always on your left. Your reasons are always on your right. And we're given this equation, we're going to prove that r equals -6. So -7 equals negative parentheses 1 minus 2r plus 6. Something you students need to make sure you do is copy down the equation perfectly. Sometimes when you guys are doing math, I see you guys do something silly, like you forget a number or you change a sign. Alright, it sounds easy enough, but I see that mistake happen a lot. And remember, our first reason is always given. Now, next is, I'm going to think about distributing this -1 out front. So there's a -7, that's going to be -1. Negative times a negative is plus 2r plus 6. And I distributed. Distribute property of equality. And again, two-column proofs can often be difficult for students, but you got to realize that there's just a lot of repetition going on. Alright, there's not really too many proofs to do once you get into geometry, so it's just kind of cycling through slight variations of them. Alright, so all I did in this step right here just did -1 plus 6 to get +5, and all I did was combine like terms. It was on the same side. Yes, I added 6 to -1, but since it's on the same side, it's combined like terms. Alright, next I'm going to get rid of this 5 by subtracting it from both sides. So I subtracted 5 from both sides, and that's how I got -12 equals 2r. Subtraction. Okay. Next, I'm going to divide both sides by 2, so I'm going to get -6 equals r. Division. Alright. And then the last step, hopefully you've come to realize that if we're swapping the order, it's just -6, and that's symmetric. And again, it's just a pattern. It's just one big pattern when we do proofs, and we're really going to see this throughout the year. You might not notice it now, it might not be till later, but the first statement is what you're given, and the reason is given. Also, something we need to come to realize is that we know the last reason is always going to be what I've set out to prove. Alright, so in this case it told me prove that, so that has to be my last statement. Okay, you're always ending on what you're trying to prove. Again, what kind of job proves things? A lawyer. When they make their closing remarks, if a lawyer is trying to prove a murder occurred, don't you think their closing remarks would be about the murder and how the person on trial is the murderer? So we need to make sure we're talking about what we want to prove. That's got to be our conclusion, our punchline. Alright? Two-column proofs, a lot of direct, indirect skills from it. Lawyers use this kind of thinking, even doctors, computer programmers. A lot of really important jobs require these thinking skills. And if you don't want to be any of this stuff, the worst skill you're developing is the skill to think very critically, abstractly, and just have very good problem-solving skills using logic and reason. If you look at adults nowadays in America, a lot of them don't have logic or reason in what they do. Statements, reasons. Adults nowadays probably aren't very good at thinking logically or critically because they didn't have me as a teacher. It's a shame, if only. Alright, so this is the equation I was given. So I just wrote it as my first statement, and my first reason is given. It's very nice of them to give us this equation. Okay. Seems to be a lot of distributing going on. Will this always be the case? No. But is it right now? Appears so. And if you like algebra, if you missed the algebra from last year, probably enjoying today's lesson. I'm going to subtract 24 from this right-hand side to the left-hand side, and I'm going to get 0 equals 32 in. Subtraction. Next, I'm going to divide both sides by 32. And 0 divided by 32, a little fun fact I'm writing up here. 0 divided by any number is 0. If this is going to help us in the future, but 32 divided by 0 is undefined. It's a bad word. Don't say that word. You're not allowed to say undefined. Only I am allowed to. Don't tell anyone I said undefined. It's a bad word. You're not allowed to say undefined. Only me. Okay? So anyways, 0 divided by 32 is 0. So 0 equals n. After the division property. And then I'm just going to swap the order, and n equals 0 after symmetric. And in all honesty, if you're doing this proof by yourself and you stopped here, you'd still get full credit. Alright, clearly you know what's going on. 0 equals n equals 0. A little redundant, somewhat important, but all in all, that's good enough for me. Okay? Unfortunately, I know you guys are going to be disappointed by this, but there's only 2 more proofs for me to do in this video, and then the rest are up to you. So I'm going to make my 2-column proof, statement, reason, okay, and then I'm just going to translate. Kind of ran out of room. So again, even if you're lost, even if you're completely confused, realize what's given to me is my first statement, reason given, and then I don't even know what's really going to go, the proof's going to look like, but I know my last statement is going to be v equals 7. That's my conclusion. That's my punchline. I have to get there somehow. All right? The last reason is always going to be something different. All right? So, anyways, we at least know 3 things in this table. Our first statement, our first reason, and our last statement. Okay, now let's see if we can achieve my ultimate goal. I'm super nervous. Let's use some different colors. Let's use burnt yellow. So I'm going to distribute. I'm going to get negative v plus 5 minus 4 equals negative 20 plus 2v, and I distributed. Alright, next let's see, what color should we use? Let's use navy orange. Alright, so on this left hand side I have 5 minus 4. Since it's all on the same side, it's going to be negative v plus 1, and it's combined like term since it's all on one side. Alright, I'm going to write CLT, and don't forget, you might see on a Canvas quiz or something, because all the teachers help make Canvas quizzes from years ago. Simplify, it might say that. Okay, so now let's use forest blue. Alright, forest blue. Think about this. I'm going to subtract 2v from both sides. So I'm going to get 3v plus 1 equals negative 20. And all I did was subtract. Subtraction property of equality. Next, turns out I'm going to subtract again. I'm going to use midnight purple. Midnight purple for this round. Minus 1 from both sides, so I'm going to get negative 3v equals negative 21. And you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to subtract back-to-back steps. Mathematically legal. I'll allow it. And then divide both sides by negative 3. So v equals 7. And my last one was division. Alright. And last one until you get to do all this fun stuff on your own. Yes. Alright. Statement. I'm getting a little bit lazy. I'm just going to write S for statement. If you're wondering what R stands for, it means this class is really fun. R stands for really fun. No, I'm kidding. It stands for reason. Alright. Negative 7. R plus 1 minus 2R equals negative 7R minus 17. Given. Yes. Alright. And then recall. I know my last, somewhere down here is going to be R equals 5. That's my ultimate punchline. Will I be able to get there? Stay tuned and find out. I'm going to get rid of it though for now so it's not in the way. Distribute negative 7r minus 7 minus 2r equals negative 7r minus 17. And all I did was distribute. Just focusing on this left-hand side, I got negative 7r and a minus 2r. So I'm going to combine those and do a negative 9r. So I have negative 9r minus 7 equals negative 7r minus 17. Oh boy, a lot of negatives. If you like negatives, you're going to like this problem. Combine like terms or simplify. You don't have to write both. I'm just writing both so you realize that both can be used. Now, let's see. What do I want to do? I'm going to add 7 to both, or excuse me, I'm going to add 7r to both sides. So I'm going to get negative 9r plus 7r. So I'm going to get negative 2r minus 7 equals negative 17. Addition property of equality. Next, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. To get rid of this negative 7, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. I'm going to get negative 2r equals negative 10 by addition again. And last but not least, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And negative 10 divided by negative 2 is going to leave me with 5 as predicted. Alright, that's it. That's the punchline. These are 2-column proofs. Hopefully you didn't feel too bad about them. Alright, algebra from last year. 2-column proofs format's new for this year. In the following days we'll be doing proofs about segments, proofs about angles, and we're just going to elaborate, and proofs will be mixed in. We have some units with a lot of proofs. So just some stuff you guys can get used to and look forward to. Proving math to be true rather than just accepting it as fact. So much fun. See you guys later.